This is Mark Kramer. I'm a senior lecturer at Vinh University in Hanoi, Vietnam, and I'm also the host of Asian Founders and Funders. This week, we are interviewing Ha Lin, co-founder of Outsider. Lin, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
So, Lin, let's start off with you talking about your background. Tell us, even though you're a very young entrepreneur, tell us about your professional background.
Sure. So I think, not too long ago, I graduated from high school in Vietnam, Hanoi, Amsterdam, and I moved to Singapore for my university degree. Long story short, during my university years, I took almost 2 years of gap year to start my first company. It didn't go well, but it's a huge lesson for me, and it definitely sparked the love for entrepreneurship inside of me from there. So that's why I came back after the failure of the company to finish my degree, and then after that, just feel like the working at the office and the 9 to 5 job still not fit for who I am and what I wanted to deliver to the world. So I came back to Vietnam afterwards and started Outsider. We started with quite a bumpy road. We started with totally different ideas, and we finally pivoted to what currently Outsider is doing now, nearly a year ago, and receiving very first paid clients in just 1 to 2 months. And we also received our very first funding in the space of 3 to 4 months after we changed and pivoted to this idea of the current Outsider right now. So back then I studied marketing, just a little bit of that. Although a lot of people said that it's not related to what I'm doing now, but I think it's still related quite a bit. Because as the founder and as the starter of the company, we're wearing multiple hats. So we have to have many skill set, and we have to learn ourselves and nurture ourselves with different skill set in different aspects. That includes marketing, designing social media, even that's what we basically have to do from A to Z to get the company going from the start and from scratch. And then building the mechanism and building the team from there, and letting others to helping the founder and myself doing the other work, so we can focusing on more important stuff to do. So I guess, yeah, that's basically in the quick introduction about me.
So let's talk about how you came up with Outsider and that you're partnered with someone else to go and build this. So how did you come up with Outsider?
So basically what Outsider do, we're a open work simulation hosting platform. What is it about is that we partner with company partners as industry partners, companies as industry partners, creating content as work simulation, simulate a day in life of a particular job, whether it's marketing, whether it's software engineer, whether it's working in a startup. We simulate it into like an assignment or like a capstone project and deliver it into university curriculum as an official to make the curriculum more industry related and as more workforce related. And at the same time, where the students doing this kind of assignment and capstone project created by our industry partners, they're being evaluated by our company partners as well, based on their performance, or whether if their performance and their work to be done, their assignment is good, they got the chance to get hired for an internship or even full-timers after they're reviewing their performance. So that's we wanted to shorten the gap of timing to for the students to get out there and get to know what fits them the most and what would be suit for their capability and their skill set the most, as well as to match what the company, as well as giving the companies this early access to young talents from even when they're still sitting in school. So that's what Outsider did. And basically, backstory of Outsider is that I used to feel like an outsider at school. So literally, quite literally. I never fit in school, and I actually probably it's kind of like not to encourage other students. Is that because I was never in university? I was always outside networking or doing internships constantly, or joining hackathons, or attending workshops, doing tons of courses online, just to find out what will be my domain and what will fit me the most when it comes to finding out about myself, because that's my goal when it comes to Singapore. But it doesn't, I was the only one who's doing that. And I always onto something in my mind. So I don't fit in school much, as well as I find the curriculum that we've been taught in school is not related to what I want to do, specifically personally, and to what's going on outside, that's happening outside the world. So there's a huge gap between theory and practice in university where I used to be in. And there's a huge gap between how to connect and make university partner with other industry partners, such as companies, to provide realistic experience and realistic opportunities, as well as content to students, to prepare them the most towards the workforce before they go out and work. So that's the problem that I'm facing, and that's my pain previously as a student. And I realized that that's not only myself, but also other millions of students as well, not just international students in Singapore, but also local Singaporeans are facing this. And then when I came back to Vietnam, this also happened. So that's why actually outside there happens like that is actually from my personal experience. And from there, I met my co-founder in different hackathons actually. My CTO, Mike, we met 3 years ago in a hackathon that we're first and runner-up. It was a World Blockchain Hackathon. It's a virtual hackathon, and we are first runner-up against 100 teams globally. We find ourselves working together really well, so then we keep in touch, and fast forward, now we are co-founders. And
the name of your co-founder is?
Mike. He's Indian. And the other co-founder, Julia, as you already know, she's working in Vin University. She's previously actually my client. I was hosting and organizing Vin University hackathons, HR innovation hackathons. And she found Outsiders really interesting, and she saw the vision of Outsider to change, to bridge the skill gap between university and workplace, and she loves it. So that's why she decided to join us as a co-founder as well. So yeah, that's basically, I think, quite a long story of how we started until now. But yeah.
So you said you felt like an outsider. What did you mean by that?
I think, to be honest, I when I arrived to Singapore, I had a mindset of Vietnamese, and I had a mindset of an overseas person. So to be able to fit into the culture is already like an outsider looking in. That's one. And second of all, I have a purpose coming to Singapore, and I do not let other things to distract from my goal, which is finding out what I'm fitting in for my career life. That is my absolute and total goal when I come to Singapore, and I have no other interests. So I have limited to zero friends and zero social life, to be honest. That's kind of like, that's not a thing that I think I should encourage other people to do. So we should really socialize and go out and find out and get to know more people as much as possible as well. So I think for myself, it's a bit a lonely journey already at the beginning. So that's the feeling of outsider. But in the end, I think the bad thing, there's always a pros and a cons to almost everything. And being an outsider, you've got the chance to looking from outside inside from giving a different perspective of a particular problem or challenge, or even a situation, and being stand out because you have a different perspective based on your own experience. So that's why I think outsider is more like an empowered name. That's why I named the company that way, is that we bring in real life experience outside of the school system and outside of the curriculum towards students to make the difference and to make them feel proud to be themselves and feel proud that they're fitting in as outsider in the school because everyone has a place of their own. And it's just a matter of creating the right opportunities and give them the right platform to nurture themselves and to find themselves into what they're fitting in. So I guess, yeah, my answer, quite long answer to your question.
No, it's all good. So I wonder, when you were coming up with this idea, did you write a business plan to start with? Did you write out what you were thinking of doing? How did you go about moving this forward?
Yeah, so I think first of all, it's kind of like my habit after attending tons of hackathons is to ensure my skill to do a quick business plan and a quick to-do plan to how to move forward. The first step I do is because I always obsessed with business lean canvas model. I hope I saw it right, but it's the chart that define different types of things that you're supposed to do and really redefine the value proposition of the business that you're offering and the service that you're offering. So that's what I always starting with is with a business model canvas and starting with what kind of different value proposition that I'm trying to offer through my service and through the business that we're trying to creating. And then from there is the go-to market strategy is what will be their target customers, what will be the target partnerships that we're gonna endorse and harness to keep the business going. What will be the main resource and services that we're gonna have to create and operate in order to keep the product going and create the product from scratch. And then cost structure as well as all the things, almost everything in one paper. So that's why I'm really obsessed with this model canvas, and I still go back nowadays to redefine and refresh myself and as well as for outsider is to constantly re-examine what we're trying to offer to students through business model canvas. So yeah, that's how I started, and still right now I'm still doing it.
So who's the target market for your business, and what tactics are you using to market to them?
So first of all, right now our target market is university. Second is corporate, actually. For university, we are offering specific programs such as entrepreneurship simulation. In a few programs we call startup internship simulation, where we train students before their internship period begins. And the content is made from actual startups and actual founders. And after the students doing that simulation content, the training content, they're being evaluated and actually being comment and feedback from actual founders from there. And if their performance goes well, they can even get a referral from that actual founders. Is that I found the students really brilliant and their performance as well as this plan that they presented is very neat and what I wanted. So they'll write a recommendation letter for the students to endorse them even. And then afterwards, after the simulation is done, we're helping the students to get actual internships overseas in Singapore based on our network. So that's why it's the whole chain of startup simulation internships that we're creating for the university and we sell it to the school. So that's just one part of the product offering that we're creating. One other product that we're also creating is called Founder's Dilemma. We simulate a day of real life of how is it like to become a founder into training courses, and we offer it to school, and so that school can offer to their students. And we're still in beta and we're still drafting and developing that product, and hopefully we'll launch it in January. So that's other ones. And the other one is that we're also doing training slash hackathons all in one with university and companies as well. So that we recently will sign up with a corporate, a very large corporate, to launch a open innovation programs slash training programs when it comes to entrepreneurship to university students in both Cambodia and Vietnam. And the target is 14 universities comes in hand together with an average of 130,000 students competing as well as drafting their own business plans, submitting to us. We chose the top 30 teams to go into demo day, and their POC, which is a proof of concept, which is their initial business plan and business idea, it will be implemented by our corporate partners by the end of the day. And while they're doing crafting everything like that, they're also being trained by our content on our outsider platform as well. So yeah, that's about it or what we're doing right now.
So that's your target market, but I'm wondering, how are you getting in front of people so they know that you exist?
How do we get in front of people?
Yeah, so the folks who you're partnering with to offer your service, and for the consumers who are actually using it, what tactics are you using to get in front of people?
Oh, you mean like the go-to market strategy? How to get the first client, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, so we have a business partner, React School. They are a entrepreneurship training and co-designers to almost 200 schools in ASEAN countries already, and they've been existing for more than 10 years now. So we've been privileged enough to be one of their partners to co-create some products together and co-sell to their university partners. That's kind of reason why we got our very first university clients is through co-selling with React School. Actually, we're doing the same thing here at the moment, just trying to recreate the strategy with other partners. Other partners we're partnering with is Supercharger Ventures, which is a tech accelerator that we got in. But we're also creating some products together and co-sell to their university ecosystem as well. Same along with corporate, which is the upcoming corporate clients that we're about to sign a partnership with in the upcoming months. We're creating this unique open innovation program together, and then we co-sell it together as well to other schools and to other partners. So yeah, I think that's my answer to your question, is strategic partners, and we co-sell it.
And what are your different revenue streams for this, and how are you selling it?
Yep. So we have different revenue streams. The first revenue streams that we have is basically directly from school. We sell, well, of course, due to our pricing range, is for now the primary market is private universities, so that they can pay for their own. I'll explain later that's what's the difference between the pricing strategy between private university and public university. But we're selling it based on semester based, specifically the program what we call startup internship simulation. We train students before their internship. And because the problem of universities is that they have different types of term breaks and period breaks. So we thought that it's best to price it under semester based on whichever when the semester starts, whether it's the summer break start from that school, it's going to be pricing based on that timeline. And the second revenue stream that we have is from our company partners as well, is that through all this work simulation program and through all this virtual work experience program, once they got hired, whether it's an intern, whether it's full-timers, we also get a commission from our company partners based on the hirings that they made from our work simulation program. So that is the two main revenue streams that we are having right now.
And how are you going to retain your clients? What's your client retention strategy?
Our retention strategy is based on, first of all, is product development. We're starting this model nearly a year ago. We got the first clients in 2 months, first paid clients in 2 months. And by renewing, how to retain it is basically 50% based on our strategic partners, because they've been ongoing partners to the university. So we still co-selling it with our company partners. Second of all is focusing more on product development, and we're about to launch specifically when we're about to launch our beta next January. That and collecting feedback from the previous version from our existing clients and implement it into the next phase of the product. So that's part of the retaining strategy that we have. And then the third of all is to gain more reputation when it comes to our company, to our new clients, and then bounce back as with our existing clients that, hey, we're making a huge progress here, and other university which are your competitors are adopting us, and they are giving us real-time feedback that the new version of the product is working really well. So yeah, the choice is yours, whether you want to continue with us or not. If you're creating what I would call FOMO, fear of missing out, to our existing clients, actually, to a little bit of to put them a little bit, give them a little bit of nudge to whether they should stick with us to compete with their competitors. Yeah.
So the competition, how many players are in this space doing what you're doing?
It's quite a lot, and there's a mix of competitors that we're facing right now, but most of them are based in US. I would say our biggest competitors, which is called Wharton Interactive, is a startup under Wharton Business School in University of Pennsylvania, and it's founded by a professor, a business professor, if I'm not wrong. And they're also doing similar work simulation program like us, but the different things between us and Wharton Interactive is that we directly connect our company partners with our students. So it works like an undercover screening tool for the companies to screen early talents for their internships and their full-time jobs. So that is one of the biggest difference between us and Wharton Interactive. Other competitors also based in US, which we call the Forage, also offering this virtual work experience program, and they also work under like an undercover screening tool for their company partners, but they're only tapping into corporate and 500 Fortune companies in US, and meanwhile we're focusing on the Southeast Asia market, and also having an element of entrepreneurship and our startup as our company partners and content partners as well. So there's a difference in when it comes to market and the target of content, at the choice of content we're offering. So yeah, that's basically our competitors.
So what's your true competitive differentiator when you're out there selling? What do you tell people what truly makes you different?
We would say that we're a work simulation program that are very flexible when it comes to creating content and offering to bridge the gap between university and workplace. But the huge difference differentiate ourselves is our company feature is the AI-based assessment scoring system, which none of our competitors actually have right now. Is to have an element of high tech to help both companies and universities to evaluate their students based on machine learning. Specifically, if it's a text submission or like a text result or text submission, and the students submit text-based, and we're using NLP to process it and to help the grading process smoother and faster. If it's a video-based or like a file recording-based answer, then we also have our voice recognition to read the answer for both of our stakeholders in this ecosystem. So that's one of the biggest elements that we are differentiate ourselves. I think one more thing is we have a very tight partnership with Reactor School, and they have a very big presence with university in ASEAN countries already. So it's a very exclusive business partner that we are very lucky to have, and we are growing together, creating new products together. So that's what differentiates ourselves as well, is to have a very exclusive strategic partner in our target market.
And so Originally, we were supposed to interview you Monday, but you had a big day this week and had to prepare for that. So, talk about the big day that you had, that you met the prime ministers of Vietnam and Singapore.
Yes, it was actually it's a very pivotal moment for me. Other than being a co-founder at Outsider, I'm also a co-founder at an upcoming NGO called Singapore Vietnam Young Leaders Network. So what we do here is we creating exchange programs for a young talent between Singapore and Vietnam to exchange, whether under theme of technology, whether it's under theme of entrepreneurship, and it's being supported by two countries' government officially. So we have our very first event previously early this week. That's why we have to move our interview into today. A partnership with National Youth Council of Singapore as well as the Vietnam government to co-organize this event to greet and meet with two prime ministers, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính from our Vietnam side, in order to celebrate our 50 years of bilateral relationship anniversary between two countries. And I got a chance to meet and greet with the two prime ministers, and specifically our Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, and talk a bit about what we're doing at Outsider and how we're bridging the gap between university and workplace with our work simulation solution, as well as to what's the next plan of our NGO to bridging the gap between two young talents of two countries coming together and create more impact. And it was very nice of that Mr. Prime Minister giving quite a lot of encouragement actually. And he said one thing that I remember until now and without note is that education is what is driving force of a country, and it's the key main thing to drive the economy as well. So that gives us a lot of encouragement and motivation to move forward with what we're doing at the Outsider, is that we're in the right path, and we just have to keep going to make more impact into the markets that we're serving.
That must have been a very heady moment, and great for you to be able to address those people and let them know where the future is. What do you see the future of Vietnam entrepreneurship? And now that you've been an entrepreneur mixed with other entrepreneurs, do you think it's like an undervalued market, Vietnam? I think we're kind of overlooked compared to China and Singapore.
I think Vietnam is the next rising star of Southeast Asia. I'm pretty sure that quite a lot of other people already read all the news and the rising trends that Vietnam's are the next rising star when it comes to creating a startup and having more entrepreneurs and even more unicorns that's under Vietnamese founders. So that's kind of my pride actually, is that we're here at the right time and we're here at the right place. And especially when because we are heavily working with a university as well. So we're seeing a rising trend where the university actually have plans and budget in order to create more opportunities and innovation activities related to entrepreneurship for students to shine and for students to train their entrepreneurship skill sets while they're still in school. So to nurture the next generation of founders and entrepreneurs. So that is a very great sign that we're seeing with university side. And from the government side, is that we also have quite a lot of regulations being created, is that to encourage university and companies to create more and collaborate more with each other to create a playground for next generation entrepreneurs to shine in Vietnam, as well as to attract more FDI to Vietnam, to give more opportunities for entrepreneurs based in Vietnam, more funding opportunities as well. So I think overall, as an ecosystem, both political side as well as the education side, even corporate side, we are actually harmonizing quite great and actually in a perfect way this year and next year. to endorse and support the startup ecosystem, specifically in Vietnam. So I think this is the best time to start something, and then try it out the best you can in Vietnam.
What's the best part about being an entrepreneur, and what's the most challenging?
That's a great question. I think the best part is you have your ownership into almost everything that you do. I don't know whether I don't know how to say it in English yet, but we have a term where I think the best way to describe it is freedom in a specific how to control your freedom. You have your freedom in almost everything that you do, but also in a restricted way. It's that you have to have a responsible. You have to be responsible for your freedomness when it comes to creating things and managing things as well. So that is my biggest love for entrepreneurship, is that I have my ownership and my freedom in creating and choosing what I do every day. That excites me and that motivates me to wake up every day to do what I do today. The bad side of it is, we actually talked about this previously before the podcast started, is the work-life balance. We basically, work-life balance for us is a myth. But it's all about prioritizing things. At the end of the day, is that work-life balance is not like the 50% of the time of the day that you spend to rest, or 50 times a day you spend to work. It's about prioritizing what's in front of you that needs to be done, and then maybe the follow-up a few days you make yourself a free break, or going somewhere to refresh your mind. Maybe that's just my experience or my perspective of work-life balance, but yeah, we work in a very hectic timeline. But it's all driven because of passion, and it's also driven because of responsibilities as well. So yeah, I would say it's not the choice for almost everybody, but I think if once you're in the water and once you enjoy it, I think it's one of the best experiences in life that you could ever have. So yeah.
And so you have two partners. What's that like, having partners, and what's the value of having partners when doing an entrepreneurial venture?
You mean my co-founders, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm very grateful for having my co-founders beside me. They're all older than me actually, and their commitment, their unwavering commitment towards what we're doing is something that surprised me as well, actually. So in between things, we still have fights, we still have arguments between co-founders ourselves, but I think that they are the right people, because they have the right maturity when it comes to seeing through that we all need to put our emotions aside and focusing on the problem, what we're trying to solve and what we're trying to amend towards each other at that particular moment. So that's one of the things that I'm very grateful for to have from my co-founders. And although, yeah, I think that's it. And then it's very fortunate that they have faith in me and an outsider still now, and they still really committed and really passionate as much as I do to drive the company forward. So yeah.
So how do you handle disagreements between the three of you? How do you work those things out?
I think because we have three co-founders, one must be the peacemaker, and that's usually me. But I'm also the one who starts the problem, or like initiating that we have a problem here that we need to address. Because I'm a pretty direct person, and I don't let everything slide easily. So at the same time, when I started to bring the arguments in and bring the problem in for us to all discuss, I also need to be the pacemaker and step back a bit and try to read the room and see how my co-founders react, in order to amend to that kind of reaction and emotions as well, to keep the peace and focusing the problem and the challenge that we're facing. So yeah, that's how we move forward when it comes to arguments.
If you were asked by another entrepreneur who's thinking about partnering with someone, what would you say that they should be thinking about before entering a partnership?
Yep, that's a great question because I think get to know your co-founders, your potential co-founder before you guys working together, or like if you guys working together before, that's even better because you know your colleagues' working style, you know your co-founder's working style. But the most important thing is to know who your co-founder is beside work and beside working together, who they really are. For example, my co-founders, Julia, she's a single mom who's hustled every day to make the best, to bring the best opportunities for her son, and to strive every day to be to for a better life for herself as well. And for my co-founder, other co-founders, my CTO, Matrick, he just got married. He has a very happy married life, and he loves his family and always trying to spend equal time to his family towards but comparing to his work life as well. So that's what I really appreciate as a human being, as to be their friends first before we be even being co-founders together. Is to get to know who the person really is um, besides all this work thing. That's a very important thing to me.
And so, what's the biggest mistake you've made, and what have you learned from that?
Um, I think mistakes. I make mistakes almost every day if I can count or measure up, basically. But I think one of the big mistakes that I did is I jumped into the water too soon. But it's it's kind of like I have an idea about what outsider is, wrote it down on a business model canvas, and I go straight to talk to customers without evaluating what would be our possibility to create the product in time based on what our customers want. So my biggest mistake is that I didn't estimate the time that we made the product quite effectively, and then go straight in to talk to customer too early even. And finally got the confirmation from them that we got this deal, we got this proposal, and we need to push the product into 1 to 2 months, which is quite impossible for for a SaaS product creating from scratch, which usually takes like at least 4 to 6 months to create and 4 to 6 months to get to that to be done. So that's it's kind of like an impatient impulse that I need to, trying to balance out both operations and opportunities, both between clients and my team as well. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I made is to align things all at once.
How do you handle the ups and downs? Because there are highs like you just experienced with the prime ministers. There are lows when somebody tells you no, they don't want it after working months trying to get them on board. So, how do you manage to keep mentally stable through this process?
I think first of all is to be mentally stable. I know it's a hard thing, especially for founders. And we've been have quite a lot of discussion and we're talking about this topic of mental health for founders. It's a really critical thing, to be honest, to keep your mind at peace and to see through the problem and not to let your emotion get into you. So before this, I have a long period facing and dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts when I was a very early age, probably about 15 to 16 or something. So dealing with heavily emotions, I've been dealing with heavy emotions like that since I was a very early age. And over the time, I learned to manage my emotions and my thoughts more effectively. So I think one of the tips, um, even with your founders or not, is to have constructive thoughts, is to really calm yourself down in any ways that you can find, or whether it's just practice breathing, whether it's just going out somewhere and have a few minutes of your own and really zone out and then come back with a fresher mind and really think through is that what's going on and what will be the possible solution to solve that problem instead of letting the anger and the emotions get into you. Something like that. Whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, whether it's negative emotions, we're facing it every day. And basically, I think I lived through it for some years. I get used to it already. So I would say that it becomes like a reflex whenever I have a down time or like a low mood time, then I know how to hype myself up and to continue the next day.
There's a lot of stress in being an entrepreneur. Do you do something to alleviate the stress? Like, are you a runner? Are you a swimmer? What do you do to alleviate stress?
I do actually. So I have a bucket list of every year I would try new things. So 2 years ago, when I was still in university, I wanted to train myself to be a makeup artist. So I became a part-time makeup artist when I was still in school, hustling part-time and to be a bright makeup artist as well. And then the next year, I tried to be a Vietnamese tutor. And then the first 2 years, I tried to paint. That's also one of my bucket lists. And the last year and this year, I'm trying to create new hobbies. This is diving. So I'm in a training for my diving course for my open water certification. Hopefully, we get it this year. So I think I fill my time and to learn and develop myself outside of work with new hobbies and side projects that excite me. Yeah, and then other than that, I also exercise. It helps my mental health and my thoughts a lot. And I do a bit of running as well. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Um, did you self-fund this company or did you get outside investors?
We have angel investors, so we're still in pre-seed. We are still in very early stage of a company, but we have in total of 120K of funding from angel investor and a accelerator that we joined, which is Supercharger Ventures, based in Singapore. Yeah.
Excellent. And AI now has become so big. How is AI affecting your business, or how are you utilizing AI?
Yes, it's definitely a big wave right now. And we're instead of going against it, we're trying to adopt it into part of our products as well. As I mentioned before, we are building a feature called AI scoring assessment features for all the simulations that we're creating. We're also providing management dashboard for both university and our company partners to manage the student submission and evaluate and giving them the opportunities from there, whether it's internships, whether it's full-timers. So all the assessment that the student did in the assessment in our simulation, they were going into the grading AI grading system that we created for our company partners. And then our company partners would choose the top students, top whether 5 or 4 students from there, and they can proceed to the next stage of their job opportunities. So it will make the process go easier. And then I think the other element is that is to collecting smart data. When it comes to creating this kind of work simulation, we have tons of data at points that we wanted to collect and we wanted to implement and make our products better. So AI and analytics in our own product help us to navigate and then collecting different data points when it comes to what kind of user behavior is our students are reacting to each part of the simulation and how do we improve the product from there. So inside out, it helps with our user journey to become more smoother and faster, and it helps our product to behave and being created more efficiently because of the product because of the data collection thing. Yeah.
And do you have a mentor?
I do. I have a few mentors actually. One of my mentors is I met him in a hackathon. I think 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. It was my first ever hackathon that I won. It's a sustainability hackathon from created by Temasek Group in Singapore. He's also a founder. His name is Alvin E. He's the co-founder at Polio, which is a Series A startup about logistics and whole lot in Singapore. So he helped me to create my business plan, my strategy, and how to pitch as a founder from the very get-go. And it's a blessing for me to have him do in this many years so far. And then my latest mentor, she's actually the board of director at MB Bank Vietnam, and she's the chairwoman at MBH's Life, which is the insurance arm of military bank group in Vietnam. We happened just to meet online on Facebook. She reached out, and then we have a talk, we have chat, we have a few lunches together. She's been helping me to motivate myself how to be a leader and how to lead well, especially in the Vietnam context. So that's my two mentors for now.
If an entrepreneur said, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting a mentor," what should be the profile of what the mentor should provide, give, look like?
Yeah, I think it all started what you want first. Whether you wanted a mentor to help you to craft and draft a better strategy for your business, then the profile of the mentors will be different. The profile of the kind of mentors will be like existing founders, existing investor who has already helped and consult many startups to succeed in their strategy before. If you need a mentor when it comes to going along the journey with you as to become like a friend or consult and mentor you when it comes to leadership, then that would be another kind of mentor persona to look at. And if you want a mentor to help you to connect and expand your network when it comes to funding, when it comes to potential clients, when it comes to potential important stakeholders in your startup ecosystem, then that would be another kind of founder. So I think at the end, it all started from what does a founder want? And then we started to craft a ideal persona and look for that kind of persona of mentor outside.
Do you have an advisory board? And if so, how many folks do you have on it? And what do you look for in advisory board members?
Yes, we do. We have one of our angel investor as on our advisory board right now. His name is Jeffrey Na. He's also a lecturer in National University of Singapore and other top university in Singapore. He also has his own educational company and business, as well as being a serial investor. So he's been helping us to assess the pitch as well as to really helping us to close important deals, as well as to assess other potential markets outside of Singapore and Vietnam to enter in the upcoming years. So yeah, I think for now that's one of only him. And for next, we're inviting a very, very exciting woman leader that I can't name for now because I don't want to jinx it, but she's from a very prestigious bank, international bank, and she's the CEO of that international bank in Vietnam. So yeah, that's the two that we have currently on our board.
And what do you look for? Like, what are you trying to get out of your advisory board members?
For Jeffrey, the main thing that he's helping us is to close deals, existing deals in Vietnam, as well as to get new clients in the new market and expand into new markets. For our upcoming advisory board, she's the CEO of the national international bank. We will look forward to help to get her mentor myself and Julia when it comes to women leadership, because she's the woman in a very senior and leader position, we will benefit a lot from her advice, as well as to even assess the corporate side, which is our secondary target market and secondary customer that we're going to head into. So yeah.
And For the future, what kinds of people are you looking to attract to join your team?
Yep. So we're currently also hiring some few interns when it comes to product because we're just starting to develop our beta development for the product. The next people that I would wanted to get into my team, if you're talking about job functions, then that would be project management, project manager, and strategic partnership manager. Because we're in the process of a few proposals that we're going to sign as strategic partnerships. It's a very huge client that we're trying to close, and probably you'll see us on the news again at the end of the month because it's quite a big client. And I think from a personality wise, we were looking forward to a person that's not afraid to fail and a person that's not afraid to initiate new ideas and have follow-up actions and have substance to it. That's a very crucial point that of the culture, of the team culture that we're trying to build is not afraid to fail and not afraid to initiate what you're having in your mind and go ahead and try within a controllable risk implementable environment, basically. So yeah, that's my answer.
I've noticed that a lot of the events I've gone to for entrepreneurs, there's a large number of women entrepreneurs. Why is that in Vietnam more so than any other area? And do you feel as a woman that there's any ceiling for you, or you feel that it's total blue sky, that you can build it as big as you want to be, that being a woman's not going to hold you back from building a great company?
Yeah, it's a very great question. So, okay, so personally, whenever people ask me how does it feel like to be a female entrepreneur, I said I don't consider myself as a female. It's not that it's not that my gender or anything, because I'm just consider myself as an entrepreneur, and that's about it. As an entrepreneur, and how what kind of things do I bring on the table? That's all that matters. No matter who you are, as a female or male or LGBTQ community related to, it doesn't matter at all. At the end of the day, it's the achievement as well as it's the result as well as the progress that you made and how you what kind of things you bring on the table. That's all that matters. So that's kind of like my mindset, and probably is that it is because of that mindset. I don't face a lot of adversity for now, and I think part of it is also that's 50%, and that other 50% is Vietnam is an amazing place for female entrepreneurs and female leadership, as you can see, and I'm very lucky to be in. That's because I think we also have this kind of similar mindset is that we don't consider it male or female much. It says that what's your capability and are you willing to fight for it and are you willing to make an impact? That's all. But I think what needs to be discussed more and what needs to be encouraged more is youth entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs while they're still students. Because I face the same thing. It's not that they view me as female, they view me as a young entrepreneur with limited experience. But with what comes to young entrepreneurs, we have loads of energies and we are willing to fail and willing to try as much as we can until we get this done and until we achieve our goal. That is one of the biggest strengths when it comes to our young entrepreneurs that I think the startup community and everybody should give it to our next generation founders and give more opportunities to them.
Any final piece of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs?
I think my advice is probably like Adidas said, just do it, and you'll see whether it fits for you or not. Because this journey is a lot of ups and downs, and it's different from everybody basically. So to find this entrepreneurship journey fits for you or not is all depends on your own experience. How do you reflect it? I know it's kind of general, but it kind of is, and it's kind of the pattern towards it is that until you know who you are and until you know what you want and you're not afraid to try, I would encourage you to try it ahead. If it sticks, it sticks. And if it's not, then it's a very memorable experience in life that you would have, to be honest, to become an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Lynn, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Raj. My pleasure.